Hi guys, it's April with Cricut-Crafting. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this slider card without really any special sliders and things like that can be purchased from places like My Favorite Things. You don't need these to create some of these slider cards. This card can be changed up from a truck to any image that you want to use on here. This is a stamped image that I used and cut out. However, any images really, if you have a Brother Scan and Cut, or you can fussy cut and stamp and cut. I just wanted to show this to Tammy since she was looking for a special moving card. This is a U.S. mail truck. From Deep Red Stamps. This would be really cute for the idea that Tammy wanted to do this as a moving card that we've moved. And I have created a little tag on the bottom of it to kind of simulate like a keychain. This is for a automotive service center, so it was a special request that was made. I'm not going to show you everything on the inside here, but it's got the cinnamon on the inside, and I will supply this file to everybody, but I just wanted to show you real quick how it went together. I did use quite a few stamped images on this, but this tag and all the other pieces, these cut pieces other than this truck, can be found in Design Space. Everything but the heart is also included in the file. Let me set that to the side here, and we'll get started. You won't need everything that I have here. Use what you have. I did use some of the die cuts with the View corrugated stack. They have probably several. These are the two that I found. This is a neutrals that has the browns and tans. And I don't know if you would call that a pink or not. Maybe a copper color or a light tan. But I like both stacks. I love working with this stuff. It's a little difficult to cut on the Cricut. If you're going to cut it on the Cricut, I suggest you turn it face down, smooth side up, and you still may need to snip some stuff. I cut it on heavy cardstock or Cardstock Plus the one time that I did cut it, and I noticed that the wheels still flattened out some of my corrugated side. So I decided to cut mine by hand. It's not that hard to cut. I cut it from the top with an X-Acto knife, and then I went to the back and cut it, folded it, and got my cut lines and cut it that way. Very easy to cut by hand. Okay, in that file, like I said, all the pieces are there. I even included a little truck from Design Space that you guys could work with. I also included this piece. So if you're not using a double-sided cardstock, it cannot be flipped. If you're using a solid, you can flip this over, but your truck will go the opposite way. So I put one in there going the other way, just to remind you to flip your images depending on which way you want to use your card. But you don't need to cut but one of these. If it's double-sided, you're perfect. If it's single-sided, you would need to cut it for your truck to go or your image to go the direction you want it, right or left. Okay, with your corrugated cardstock, if you cut this by hand, don't make the mistake that I made. Make sure you cut it with your lines going vertically. If your lines are going horizontally, this is horizontal, this is horizontal, this is vertical. You do not want to cut your stripes vertical. You want them to go horizontal. Make sure you cut that in the correct, put your paper on the Cricut the correct way, or that you cut it by hand the correct way, or the card won't work unless you want to make it go up and down rather than side to side. Because you can modify this file and make it go the other way. You'll also want to cut, if you're going to do it like I did with the little tag hanging off, you'll want to cut a heart, a flower, whatever shape that you want for your little dangle piece. I did rivet mine. I'm not going to do that on camera. I used the Crop-A-Dile to cut the hole and put that rivet in there on each piece. I'm not going to do it on this one just for time's sake, but I did it on both pieces for mine. And I also riveted the tag to look like a cloud at the top. That piece is included in there. The holes are already in it. That's the way the tag came. If you don't want the holes, of course you can weld it up or select another cloud or tag, however you want to decorate yours. I stamped all my other images on it, but there are trees and stuff that you can cut out of design space that will work perfectly. And just to show you how this goes together really quick, this was the end where I cut the two hearts out, and I just left it. I think that would make a cool pull as well on this. But if you'll notice, I'm going to flip this piece upside down so that my corrugated part is on the corrugated part. This creates a channel so it won't move up or down, but it will go side to side. That's really all there is to this card. I have some glue on this where I goofed up so it may hang up, but if you don't have any glue or anything on there, it moves very smoothly, very easily. It doesn't hang up. It's, in my opinion, one of the quickest, easiest cards I've made. But you're going to lay that in that channel. Then you're going to lay your piece on there. You're not going to glue anything together or do anything as of yet. It will get glued, but not right this moment. Just make sure that you've got that pull where you want it, because you can, depending on the width that you cut it, move it up or down on the card. So if you want it to be a little higher up than what the channel is, you can do that. If you want it, how far you want it to be in, etc. How much you want this to hang out. That's all up to you. It's all can be done before you glue it together. I'm just going to move mine back down because I like it close to the bottom. And I would probably chomp that off with my corner rounder like I did on my other one. Now there is another layer to this truck so that you don't see through. You're going to see through on mine, but everything on this is hidden so that you don't see the mechanism. Even when it's pulled, you don't see any of this cut out. None of this shows. So that's all that you're doing at this step, is lining it up just to make sure that nothing shows once you have it all lined up. And we're just going to pretend that I have my bottom layer on this truck, because I just didn't cut it for this to show how it went together. At this point, you want to take a look also, is enough of your corrugated piece showing? If not, I trimmed this down, but I wanted to leave it big because if anybody wanted to cut their corrugated piece bigger to go on top, as you can see, I trimmed mine down. Make sure you trim it from this side and this side opposite of your mechanism, because you want to leave enough space here at the base of the mechanism that it doesn't show, but it's covered. And you don't want to make that a thin area there, because then you'll have your truck so far up to the edge that it won't look right. Okay, and that's basically how that goes together. At this point, I moved my truck, and then I took foam squares. And you'll want one that'll fit inside that channel, so just a medium type foam square. I used 2 of the smaller ones, and I just held everything down. Let me do one at a time. And place one there, and then butt the other one right up against it, because the further you go this way, the less movement you're going to get on your truck. So if you just want to use one and then maybe a dab of glue just to ensure that it stays, then that works as well. And then you're just going to peel those off, and I'm going to push it all the way to the back because I moved it. If you've moved it, you'll want to push it all the way back. And then place your truck where you want it on your card. Press it down, and now the truck will move inside those channels. And I know that I'm twisting it here, but once you glue it down, it won't twist, and it'll stay in those channels. What I did at that point is I just lifted up everything, because this is secure now. And like I said, I would probably move this up a couple of channels to give myself some more room. But you want to put a very thin bead of glue, and I am going to suggest that you give it a little more space than what I did. I'm going to pull that up, and I don't need but one for this purpose. I'm going to move this. You want to give yourself about that much space in your channel. So if this is too wide for you, you'll want to cut it down. But still, basically, I'm in the same spot. I'm going to show you guys that it'll still work no matter where. I just didn't have mine up high enough. I forgot to double check it. You're going to flip it over at that point and put a small thin bead of glue on this side and maybe up here at the top. And then I came down close to the edge on this, and I glued this section here too to make sure that it was down and it was secure. Because of this corrugated, if you don't get enough glue on there, it may not stick because it is raised up and it dips down. So the only places that it's going to stick is on the raised places of your corrugated. So you want to put a good amount of glue in there, and then make sure it's all lined up, press it all down, and make sure that your mechanism is going to move back and forth. You don't want any glue on your mechanism, so just be careful when you're gluing here so that you don't get any glue on it as you're placing it down. In my opinion, it was better to flip it this way, put my glue on, and then I lightly tacked the top like this while holding this up, and then as that dried, then I put the glue at the base and then flipped it over and made sure that nothing moved so that it was glued down and my mechanism moved. Then I just kind of lifted up the bottom and put my glue on the base here and then tacked it down. That way I did not interfere with the mechanism. But that is all there is to putting that card together. It's simple, it's easy, you don't need any specialty things like this from My Favorite Things. You don't need the dies that cut the channel or anything else. You can make this with whatever size foam square you have. Like I said, you can modify this file. You can change this to go in this direction so that it pulls up and down. So versatile, so easy, and all you need is a couple of pieces of corrugated and the brown craft cardstock. I love it. How many times do you get this stuff in packaging? You can use this. I mean, I think they even put it in like some of the cookie packagings. So this is readily available. Again, it's available also with die cuts from a view, and die cuts with a view. I'm sorry. And I will put all the links for the supplies that you would need, the corrugated, in case you don't have any on hand. Where you can get that stuff, and also for the deep red stamps, I'll put that link in there as well in case you want to do a fussy cut image on that. Like I said, any image would work. And please come over to the Facebook group with Cricut-Crafting and with April and show me what you did with this project. I'd love to see how yours turned out, what you did, and how you reworked it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. The more subscribers we get, the more videos that we can bring to you guys. And you have a wonderful crafting day. Thanks for watching.